How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Some people think it's game over in this market. We just had Jerome Powell speak. We had a big pump up. Now we're starting to actually fall back down. I want to cover what Jerome Powell said, also cover a couple other things that are happening in the market, and show you what Plan B just said. If you're bearish on the market, you're going to get some hopium towards the end of this video that could make you quite bullish. Even Plan B's like very conservative numbers are well above what a lot of people think are possible. So I'll play you some of those clips towards the end of the video. I would watch him because he is a very well-respected analyst. A lot of people give him flack, but he crushed it at $3,000 or $4,000 Bitcoin. He said we're going up to 100,000. We made it up to 69,000, which is very close when you consider the orders of magnitude up to get there. So stay through to that. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. There's going to be a link to Margex underneath the video in case you want to trade cryptocurrencies. You can do that over on Margex using leverage. Now, it's not right for everyone, and if you don't want to trade leverage, that's okay. There's a link to CoinW underneath the video as well. They just told me, they just gave me a new promotion that can give you some free money. Let me pull this up because it could be helpful for some people. They say, okay, deposit a minimum of 100 USDT, place a futures trade on CoinW, and then you can win 100 USDT to trade with. This is going to be good for the next 7 days. So if you want to sign up with CoinW, now's the time to do it because you get some free money as well. Now, Bitcoin moved up to 59,300 and then fell back down to 57.1 within, what is this, half an hour or an hour? Yeah, within 1 hour, we went down another $2,000. So what exactly is happening? Well, obviously people that are very aggressive are being shaken out, but at the same time, the whole stock market moved up in the same pattern as well. Obviously, there's one major thing happening right now. And I will say, like earlier at the beginning of the week, I said that this was going to be an insane week for crypto. Whenever I say that, people give me a hard time because they say, hey, every week is insane. But I said, no, really, this one is insane because we have a lot of big earnings. We have Jerome Powell speaking. We have a lot going on. We had some numbers that came out as well, some economic numbers. So it has been kind of a crazy week. I mean, Bitcoin's down significantly this week, and we'll show some interesting charts here in a minute. But today just added some fuel to this fire, some extra intensity, some gasoline on the fire. So what exactly happened? Well, Jerome Powell spoke. They kept rates the same at 5.25 to 5.5. These are some of the things that he said. Beginning in June, the committee will slow the pace of decline of its security holdings by reducing the monthly redemption cap on Treasury securities from $60 billion to $25 billion. So they're slowing the pace of quantitative tightening. That's bullish for the markets. He also said, I think it's unlikely the next policy move will be a hike. Some people thought they were actually going to hike today, which is kind of crazy. But he still says, hey, we don't think it's going to be a hike. I do think that there's evidence that shows pretty clearly that policy is restrictive and is weighing on demand. So he's saying, yes, we're still restrictive, right? This is still higher basically than what we typically want to keep our rates at, but we have to do it right now. Also, someone asked him, will stagflation occur? And he said, I don't see the stag or the flation. Literally, this is what he said. This isn't a joke. I've seen a lot of people post about this. So he's like in a good mood, a pretty decent mood. They also, the government, the U.S. Treasury is going to start buying back treasuries. They say the U.S. Treasury is launching the first buyback program since 2002, scheduled to start on May 29, 2024. The program is designed to improve the liquidity of the Treasury market and is expected to run for the next 3 months or so. Now, what is this for? It's basically a bank bailout. And we talked about this. A bank recently collapsed. And I think the government knows that there are more banks that are going to collapse because a lot of people are trying to move their money maybe, and the banks put them in long-dated, low-yielding treasury bonds or treasury notes maybe a year or two ago, and now they're having a hard time getting liquidity so they could they could sell them for less than they're worth to get liquidity, but then, they're kind of SOL because they're actually losing money on that trade. So the U.S. Treasury is coming in to save the day. So this is essentially some kind of quantitative easing. So this mixed with some of the words from Jerome Powell made the market go up. Now it's coming back down. Why is that? Who knows, right? We actually saw that in the stock market as well. Not quite to the same level, right? Not kind of this volatility, but we saw the market pump up and then kind of come down a little bit. Now, I still think we have to keep a level head. I mean, look at this. Bitcoin is going to crash upwards forever. 40%, 25%, 40%, 35%, 35%, 40, 40. And everyone says it's over. I was just talking, I just made a video yesterday, and so many people in the comment section said it's going to go down. This is the end of the bull market of 2024. Some are tongue-in-cheek, but some are serious. They think that this 23% we're seeing right now is the end of the bull market. It's crazy, right? I actually just had a long meeting with someone that's been buying Bitcoin for years, into collectibles, into real estate, into a lot of different things. And he's thinking end game. Like, where do I want to hold my Bitcoin? How do I want to use it? And he's looking decades into the future. You have to realize there are a lot of people that no matter what Bitcoin does this cycle, they're not going to sell. And I know some people are going to sell, some people are going to take profit, some people aren't. But there are people that don't care about these fluctuations, these 20% drops, 25% drops. Like they take money from their businesses and they buy Bitcoin. They don't care the price because they realize that this is going to $1 million, maybe higher. So just keep that in mind. When maybe you're focusing over the 10, 20% move, there are people thinking longer term. There are people thinking generationally what this will mean. So try to keep that long-term approach on the market. And I also just want to show you someone that is very bullish. Plan B. First, I want to play the bit. He just posted this video, by the way. I want to first play the bit where he talks about where he thinks Bitcoin could go this cycle. And then we'll talk about whether he thinks that maybe the cycle's over. And what are the chances of that happening? Like, are we back into the bear market, right? Or are we in distribution phase versus the bull market? So we'll talk about that in a second.
Despite this a bit lower closing price this month, Bitcoin is still 36% up year to date. And also, Bitcoin is at the halving, because this month is the last blue dot, because it's month 0 here. And from next month, May, we will count down again to the next halving in 2028. But this month is the last blue dot, and every blue dot, last blue dot, every halving has been at this gray stock to flow model price. So that's very nice. Also, the average price is something that we can calculate at the moment. It's 34,000, and that's a little below, of course, the 55,000 that the 2019 original stock to flow model predicted. But it's ballpark okay. It's the same order of magnitude, and don't forget, in 2019 the Bitcoin price was below 4,000. So also note that the average Bitcoin price was above the stock to flow model price in the cycle before the last cycle, the 2016-2020 cycle. So I updated the model. Parameters did not change much. 2024-2028 target is still around 500k on average. So also note that the error always goes down after the halving. So there is a halving, the model value goes up, and of course it takes some time. The Bitcoin price has a lag to catch up with the model value. It's every halving, it's the same. It will also be true this halving, in my opinion. So we see the error already going down. It will go down again because the price will not be 500k, of course, in May. It will slowly over the months go into that model price. So what's next? For 2024, I repeat the same as last video. It is inevitable that we reach 100k, in my opinion, because miner revenue has to recover. And mining revenue, because of the halving, did halve. All the miners, the entire industry has seen its revenue drop by 50%, and it has to recover. Usually, last 3 halvings, it did recover within 4 to 8 months. So that's well within this year, 2024, and the only way for mining revenue to recover is that price doubles. So estimating from current price of 60k, we should be well above 100k this year. Then 2025, I think the top will be then, because historically the top of the bull market has been after the halving, and about 1.5 years after the halving. So that brings us in 2025. And the big question, of course, is will the price follow diminishing returns? And I think a price of around 200k for the top will be in line with diminishing returns, or will price indeed follow the stock to flow model again, and will there be exponential returns again? You know my answer. I think stock to flow is still valid. I think we will have exponential returns at least until 50% adoption, and we're now at somewhere between 1 and 10%. So far away from that 50% adoption. I think exponential returns are what we're going to see.
Let's move on to the next bit. Does Plan B think that we're out of the bull market? Are we just in a distribution phase? Is all hope lost?
The Bitcoin market cycle, and everybody was watching for that red dot. If it would turn to yellow, it did not. So the bull market continues. I know the emotions are very different. I know some think the bull market's over already, but that's exactly why we use models, to fight against emotions and on-chain transactions that this market cycle indicator is based on. The on-chain transactions signal that we are still in a bull market, despite this little dip. And note, by the way, that here's a dip as well. Here's a dip as well. It's very similar. Here's a dip. Here's a dip. So red doesn't mean there won't be dips. In fact, 25% dips are quite normal in a bull market. So better get used to it. There might be more. But the good thing is red will continue, in my opinion.
Now, who knows by the time you're watching this where Bitcoin's price is? It doesn't matter whether we're at 60,000, 70,000, 55,000. In my mind, I'm taking a time-based approach, right? There's going to be a bit of price approach too, but in my mind, I'm not looking at selling right now. You know, whether the price goes up to 70, 80, 90,000, right? I'm not selling my Bitcoin right now. Why is that? Because historically, we've seen prices go up at certain times in the cycle, and it's very hard to tell the exact price. So yeah, hopefully you're in a similar boat, whether you're just focused on the timing of it or whether you're just in accumulation mode. Hopefully you have a level head and you have some kind of approach to this bull market. I think that's really important. If you don't already know, okay, where am I going to sell or when am I going to sell, you should jot that down. And if it's, hey, I'm not going to sell anything, I'm going to ride it up. I don't care the price we get to, and I don't care how far we fall down, because I want to take loans against this in 8 or 10 years, right? If that's your goal, if you want to just hold on to it forever and your only job is to buy as much as possible and you're not going to time the market, great. Then you're set for the next bull run. But if you're someone that knows that you're going to want to sell, or you're going to buy too much at the top or something like that, like set something in place, write it down. As arbitrary as it feels or as stupid as it feels, just write that down, because it's important to keep a level head. And some people won't. Some people will freak out like when we fall down, inevitably we will have another 20% drop at some point, whether we go up to 100,000 first or 150,000 or we fall down to 50,000, right? We're going to see another 20% drop, and you need to make sure that you know how to handle it, that you wrote down your rules at a time where you were more level-headed, right? So let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Again, you can check out the links to Margex and to CoinW underneath. If you want that extra trading bonus, you can go over to CoinW. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.